my side all along. My true mentor, my guiding moonlight.
Skyrim was released in 2011, and in the 14 years since, there's only been one trailer for its sequel. One. Since then, Marvel has gone through 5 phases, currently being in its 6th, Team Cherry has released 2 whole Hollow Knight games, the United Kingdom has had 6 different Prime Ministers, Man United has had 8 different managers, and I think you get the idea. It has been a while. Although it's not like Bethesda hasn't been busy. Since Skyrim, we've had Skyrim Legendary Edition, Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim Anniversary Edition, Skyrim Alexa Edition. Okay, it hasn't been all Skyrim. We also got Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 and Starfield. But there lies the problem. Despite both those games, Skyrim seems to be where the heart of Bethesda's community still remains, at least on the modding front. And while I was running around playing Siren Root, I had a thought. Is it something that we're ever going to be able to move on from? The short answer is possibly. Theoretically, as soon as Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, there will be a mass migration from Skyrim to wherever this game is set. And this will 100% be the case at least for the first few weeks. You just need to look at the mighty peaks of both Oblivion Remastered and Starfield when they both released, managing over 200,000 and 300,000 concurrent players on Steam respectively. But look at their 24-hour peaks. Then look at Skyrim Special Editions. It seems that everyone has gone right back to their comfort zone, and while we are looking mainly at Steam, Bethesda's home has usually been on PC, and PC gamers tend to use Steam. Now obviously you could say that this is because we don't have Elder Scrolls 6, and that, as nice as Oblivion Remastered was, it used Unreal Engine 5, and not having its own version of the creation kit meant that the modding community didn't have the tools to make it like Skyrim. This won't be the case when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out because it will use the creation engine too, and thus have a creation kit. But here's the thing that has me worried. What if Elder Scrolls 6 isn't good? Hype has been building for Elder Scrolls 6 for 14 years, but in that time Bethesda's quality has been declining, or rather stagnating. This is in contrast to its publishing department, which has been doing relatively well, but the common consensus is that we haven't had anything great from Bethesda since Skyrim. Now, Skyrim did win every award under the sun, but both Fallout 4, which I think is alright, and Starfield, which I don't think is alright, were completely overshadowed by The Witcher 3 and Baldur's Gate 3, respectively, and have shown a decline in Bethesda's ability to make people care about their games. This wasn't felt much for Fallout 4 considering some of the great modding projects that we've had, like Fallout London, but just look at Starfield's modding community in the last 28 days compared to Skyrim's. It's not even close. And while everyone is probably going to buy and play Elder Scrolls 6 in the first few weeks, if there isn't enough there, could it suffer the same fate as Starfield? Will we end up right back with Skyrim, like it's a relationship that we can't escape? I mean, I might need a Skyrim intervention.
Shit. Hey, where are you? Sorry, I'm busy. Busy with what? I died.
One thing we have to mention is that Elder Scrolls is a much bigger IP than Starfield. To me, the only reason why people were invested in something like Starfield was because it was Bethesda, but the Elder Scrolls is a long series, covering many decades. You also have to remember that for the long term, Elder Scrolls 6 isn't just competing with Skyrim, it's competing with Skyrim and 14 years of modding history, and counting. Not to mention that there's a chance it will come out in roughly the same window as The Witcher 4. Another fantasy RPG with a massive studio name behind it. Now, I'm not saying that I expect Bethesda to make something on par with CD Projekt Red. I don't think it's reasonable to expect that. But the base of Elder Scrolls 6 needs to be fun enough to keep people in it. And that doesn't mean the graphics need to be incredible, because look at my Skyrim. It's a far cry from the original, and visuals are something that the modding community will improve. What Elder Scrolls 6 needs is to have a good and fun base, using Tamriel to deliver an immersive experience that makes people feel like they can go anywhere. To me, that's what makes Skyrim so special. Its inherent DNA as a game that lets players pick any direction they want, and to walk in that direction to uncover something new is what makes it so magical. It's fun to just walk, and you can end up wandering into a cave of Daedra worshippers, uncovering a conspiracy with the vampires, or discovering more about the ancient past of Skyrim. It's a game that makes just existing fun, which isn't really something you can find elsewhere. And with mods adding so much more, it's where the magic of Skyrim is for me. Elder Scrolls 6 needs to recapture this magic and evolve it, because, at least in my opinion, Starfield isn't fun to just exist in. Fallout 4 can be, but it does feel like it's missing that extra something that made Skyrim so special. So, what happens if Elder Scrolls 6 can't do this? Well, Skyrim will always be there as a safety net for the community, but if Elder Scrolls 6 doesn't do well, Bethesda could be in some pretty big trouble. It's perhaps the biggest game release after GTA 6, and make no mistake, GTA 6 will come out first. The difference is, Rockstar has shown time and time again that it can make some of the best games in the world consistently, whereas Bethesda has shown that it has stagnated and is unable to keep up with modern standards. This is a narrative that has existed for a while regarding Bethesda, and while some people have pointed out the outdated engine, it doesn't seem to have been solved with a new one. Unless Bethesda doesn't break its own trend of declining quality, we may have to look elsewhere, but that doesn't seem so fruitful either. Avowed didn't spur much imagination, and I guess it did okay, but got lost in the storm of 2025 bangers like Expedition 33, Hollow Knight Silksong, Hades 2, Death Stranding 2, the most Hideo game of all time, and so on. Then there's Tainted Grail, a more indie alternative, which a lot of people seem to like, given its Steam reviews, and combat seems to be a highlight of Tainted Grail when comparing it to the Elder Scrolls, but it just doesn't seem to have this almost unidentifiable charm that Skyrim has. So, if Elder Scrolls 6 and the rest of the gaming industry aren't inspiring confidence that something will coax us out of the comfort zone that is Skyrim, will we ever be given a reason to leave it behind? I'm not so sure we will. And in fact, we're probably at the point where a Skyrim remake in Creation Engine 2 is the safest success for the Elder Scrolls series. And no, this isn't me trying to be funny. I know we've memed Bethesda about the Skyrim re-releases, but it has been 14 years. Maybe a Morrowind remake might help too, being made in Unreal Engine 5 by Virtuos again, but ultimately, I'm not sure there's going to be enough out there to make us move on from Skyrim, especially when we have massive projects like Beyond Skyrim to look out for. I guess it doesn't help that I'm not feeling too optimistic about Bethesda's future, and Skyrim has been home for so long that I can't see a world that forces the core audience to move on. Say what you want about Skyrim re-releases, but they are successful, and mods are still being made in massive quantities. It feels like Skyrim will never run out of content. So, as much as we are looking out for Elder Scrolls 6, perhaps we don't have to move on. Maybe it's alright to stay with a game that hasn't let us down since 2011, especially because modding is more accessible than ever before. Well, it's not alright for Bethesda, but they've made their bed, and now they have to lie in it. If Todd pulls off a miracle and makes the Elder Scrolls 6 an unmatched experience, then I won't complain. But I can't see it. I really can't. At least, we'll always have you, Skyrim. Thank you all for watching, and I know this is quite different from my usual lore videos, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And if you don't mind this kind of stuff and you'd like to see more of it, let me know. If not, also feel free to let me know in the comments below. And hopefully I'll see you in another video.
And so the bag was born again as the